crafters, welcome to another crochet tutorial. On this tutorial we'll learn about 4 types of stitches. These are variations of the single crochet stitch, which is the most basic crochet stitch we have. So the stitches are front loop single crochet, back loop single crochet, front and back loop single crochet, alternate single crochet. These stitches may seem daunting to do, but if you just follow along, you'll finally realize that they're actually quite simple. So just observe keenly as I take you through each of the 4 stitches. We'll start by making a foundation chain. If you don't recall how to make a foundation chain, or you don't know how to make a foundation chain, please watch the Crochet for Beginners tutorials. They will give you a much better understanding. So we'll begin by making 10. Let's make 10. So we'll chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we'll add one more stitch so that our project stands up. Then you don't end up having a less number of stitches as you crochet along. After making our foundation chain, we are going to start making our single crochets on the second stitch from the hook. So the second one, we'll make 10 single crochets. Just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see having that extra stitch, that is 11 foundation chains, makes us have 10 single crochets. Once you're at the end, to turn, chain 1. We'll begin with the front loop single crochet. If you look at your project, you have this V shape, this one. So this is the back loop, the one that is away from you, and the one that is closest to you is the front loop, this one. So the back loop and the front loop. What we'll do is we'll single crochet on the first loop only. Instead of inserting our hook into this hole, we are just going to insert our hook into the first loop only. There we have it. And I'll also include symbols for these stitches because at times the instructions are written in charts, so they use symbols rather than letters. Again, you can see the back loop, the V shape that is, and then the back loop and the front loop. So with the front loop single crochet, we're just working our single crochets just the way you would a normal single crochet, but on the front loop only. And it's pretty easy to make the front loop single crochet. You just pull a white loop, and there we go. The front loop single crochet makes a slightly textured effect, and it's pretty easy to count the rows when you have this stitch. So this is our first row, this is our second. So let's just do this for like 2 rows and see how it looks like. I've made 2 rows of the front loop single crochet. Our first row was just the plain or common single crochet. Then the second row is the front loop single crochet as well as the third row. You can see the rows: row 1, row 2, row 3. It's not as textured, slightly textured. Here's the back. Okay, So what we'll do next is the back loop single crochet. I've changed the color of yarn so that you can tell these 4 stitches that we're going to work, and again I'll be including symbols for each of the stitches so that you can learn the written instructions as well as the symbols. Our next stitch is the back loop single crochet. This one is identified by the ridges it has, and it has a ribbed appearance, so it's ideal for scarves and pillows, and it's effective when worked in blocks of color. You can actually see the beauty of it when it's in blocks of colors. To begin this row, we'll chain 1 as usual. Then we have our V's again, the V. So the back loop is the loop that is away from you. So that's where you insert your hook. There we go. Again, the back one. This one. I'm pretty sure by now you're getting the hang of it. It's just inserting your hook in a different position, not the hole that you would, or in between stitches that you would in a single crochet, but at the back. At times they say back loop only, front loop only. So this is just worked in the back loop only, not both loops. And do this across. Probably again make 2 or 3 rows so you can tell the difference. At the end of the row, to turn, you chain 1 again at the back loop. There we go. And I find it easy to find the back loop when I do this. Look at the project from the top, then get the back loop. These variations of the basic crochet stitches, we end up having an endless dictionary of crochet stitches. There is a second row. Can you see this ridge for me? That's the way you tell a back loop single crochet, and it's harder to identify the rows compared to the front loop single crochet. Let's pick another row and see another ridge for me. Okay, so I've made 3 rows of the back loop single crochet, and on this side we have the ridge, then on this other side there's a ridge as well. So for the front loop crochet single crochet stitch, there was no ridge and it was easy to count the rows. For the back loop single crochet, there are ridges and it's not as easy to count the rows, but it has such a nice textured appearance, and it's really pretty in scarves and pillows. Next, we'll do the front and back loop single crochet. I've changed the color once more so that you can tell the difference between all these stitches. Now we are working on the front back loop single crochet, so a combination of both, but we're alternating by row. Again, let's begin by making one chain stitch, then let's make the front loop single crochet first. In the front loop only, just the front loop. at the end, then chain 1 to turn. After turning, we'll do it on the back loop only. I'm just working in the back loop only. It's easy to identify the back loop when you flip your work like this and observe it from the top. The front and back loop crochet, single crochet stitch is not as deeply textured, but it creates a furrowed or ridged appearance. Its effect can be seen by working in stripes, of different colors. Just did that in the back loop. Again, let's do it in the front loop. Again, I'll include symbols for these stitches so that you can read charts. Okay, front loop is done, then the back loop, chain 1, and then just single crochet at the back. The last stitch can be a bit tricky, and there we have it. So front loop single crochet, back loop single crochet, and front and back loop single crochet. See, it's slightly furrowed or ridged in comparison to the back loop. Next up is the alternate single crochet stitch. I've changed the color once more. With this stitch, you alternate between the front loop and back loop the same row. Chain 1. Let's begin by making the front loop. Here we go. And the next one will be the back loop. So you alternate front, back, front, back. Front and then back, front and then back. The only difference is why you just insert your hook. Front and back. Again, front and back. And hold the front. There's a way they're being placed back, front, back, front, back, front. Let's do another row of that. We'll start by back, and then front, back, and front, back, then front, back, front, back, front, and lastly back. All these stitches are just alternating in the same row, unlike the front and back loop single crochet. Let's go through the differences of these stitches together. We began by the front loop, single crochet. This one was slightly textured. Next we went to the back loop, single crochet. This is highly textured in comparison to the other stitches. Next was the front and back loop, single crochet, which was not as deeply textured as the back loop, single crochet. And lastly we have the alternate single crochet. With a front loop, you only work at the front of that loop of the V's, just the front. The back loop, you work at the back of the loop that is away from you. Then the front and back loop, single crochet, you alternate between rows. One row you work it on the front loop, the next row you work it on the back loop. Then the alternate single crochet, we alternate the 2 stitches in the same row. So the difference between this one and this one is the rows. The front and back loop single crochet, the rows have one of either stitches. With this, the alternate single crochet, you alternate 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 1 stitch. There we have it as a sample of variations of single crochet. And to begin with, I made the usual single crochet. These tutorials are ideal for beginners, and also if you are teaching a class or you have someone, even a child, interested in crochet or knitting and other crafting techniques along the way, because I take you through the basics. I take you through the complicated bits. It's from the beginner level as you go through to complicated techniques. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share and comment, and please subscribe. I'll see you on the next tutorial crafters. We'll be handling another variation of the basic crochet stitches. Bye crafters!